Welcome to Specialty Marketing Consultants, marketing you can do right now. The podcast with your host, Rod Harder.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Marketing You Can Do Right Now podcast. I'm your host, as always, Rod Harder, and I do thank you for taking time to listen in today. I'm pretty excited because I have somebody that I've been wanting to talk to for a while. I think she has a lot of great information to share with you. Her name is Debi Snow, and she is with Promotional. She's a representative for them, and she's going to tell us all a little bit more about her company, what she does. And I want to say good morning to you, Debi. How are you?
I am great, Rod. Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to share some information.
Great. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little coffee talk here. So it's basically, I want to first, if you would, frame this a little bit by telling everybody that's listening what your company does, how you work. And the thing I like about it, Debi, is Promotional really dovetails into exactly what this podcast is all about. So I'll let you take it from there.
Okay, great. Promotional is an international company, offices all over the world. I'm in Daytona Beach, and my area of expertise is within printing, packaging, and branded merchandise. But it's real important to note that I'm not interested in talking about things. This is all about how you market your company, how your image is perceived by other people that you work with.
Good point. And you and I have become fast friends because of your outgoing personality. When I first hopped on board and joined the Chamber of Commerce, I was a little hesitant. You were the first person that welcomed me with open arms, and you suggested that I get more involved, invited me to your leads group. And that's where I started to learn a lot more about what you do and how you help small businesses. So who would be a good client for you? I guess large and small, right?
Absolutely. Everybody needs new customers. Everybody needs to solidify their relationships with their current customers. And everybody needs to do a better job at prospecting. Whether it's you as the owner of the company or an entire sales force, we want to be as effective as possible as we're trying to grow our bottom line.
Right. And that means standing out, being different, separating yourself from the pack. And your company has just an endless supply of things that you can bring to other businesses who in turn can take to their clients and prospective clients. So some of the things that you do, can you cover that just a bit for us, Debi?
Sure. In the printing realm, I do just about any piece of paper that you put your name on, whether it's a postcard for direct mail, whether it's a brochure that you leave behind with a customer, anything you're putting your name on. And the key is consistency, so that if that customer sees the notepad you're writing on or receives a brochure for you, it should be branded exactly the same. Packaging is another area that I work with. Let's say that you want to package your spaghetti sauce to send out to prospective stores to put it on their shelves. That packaging is key. Are you sending it to the right stores with the right image that they want to have on their shelves? Are you mailing it in a package that they're going to open and look at? And then there's branded merchandise. And that's everything but paper that you put your name on. So your trade show booth, whether you're doing a small table with a tablecloth or a large 20 by 20 booth at a trade show, We want that to give an impression to somebody walking by that's positive, that they will remember. People always say, "Oh, Debbie, you do tchotchkes." And I say, no, tchotchkes are something that you give to somebody without any thought. We're going to spend a lot of time when I meet with you thinking about what the right things are and matching up who your client is, which ones you want to capture, and what they want to see. I'll give you a different example.
Okay.
If you have a company and you're hiring millenniums, one of the key factors in keeping a millennium employed in your business is things that you give them. The last couple of years, Under Armour shirts are just fabulous for making a millennium feel like they are part of your business. So we can keep your employees happy. We can give them things of value with branded merchandise.
Excellent. This morning we're talking to Debi Snow with Proforma, and she has a world of information and advice for us. All of us should be. If you're listening to this podcast, you have clients, and you should be thinking creatively of ways that you can help get your name in front of them. The secret to this, I guess, Debbie, is top of mind awareness. You know, you have your initial gift that somebody appreciates, and then it's that ongoing top of mind awareness. I have a question for you. Does your company provide the kind of things like lumpy mail and things like that?
Absolutely. Boy, Rod, that tells us how old we are when you call it lumpy mail.
What's the new term?
I'm not sure, but lumpy mail is probably one of the first terms I ever learned in this business. And that was almost 40 years ago.
Well, I'm a student of Dan Kennedy and direct response marketing, and the real giants in that world use lumpy mail almost like, since you mentioned how old we are, you might remember, I certainly remember, Cracker Jacks. And the secret to Cracker Jacks was it certainly wasn't the best candy, but it sure had that curiosity where we wanted to know what was inside, and that's the magic behind lumpy mail, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is. It makes you open that envelope.
Yeah, and do you have a couple of examples of things that people are using today? I know what worked a year or two ago, but I know that constantly changes. Are there things that you see that seem to get a better response than others?
Absolutely. One of the things we send out, in the last couple of years in the mail is a T-shirt, a compressed T-shirt in an envelope in a shape that is particular for your industry. For instance, a T-shirt that has been packaged like a house. What a great tool for realtors to send out when they are prospecting for new clients and get their homes listed. Shape of a house, open it up, T-shirt full size pops out with the realty company's name on it.
Very nice. Now, see, that's a new one. I hadn't heard that before. Very nice to know. And I know that is just an endless list of things that can be done, from small little trinkets all the way up to something bigger. It depends on really what your client is, what that long-term relationship might mean to you. But if you have to make an initial investment to 20, 30, 50, or 100 companies, the value of getting that across to a handful of those who will eventually open it up, and you have that chance to develop a relationship and get them as a client, it's not an expense, is it? It's an investment.
It is an investment, but here's where kind of the rubber meets the road. If you are going to send out 100 envelopes with something really special in it, you can't drop the ball after you mail those. That's not going to make 100 companies pick up the phone and call you.
No.
What are you going to do next? Are you going to call them and ask them how they liked it? Are you going to send them a follow-up with a call to action?
It's
multiple steps, not just hit and run.
Well, that's right. And most people who don't like the word marketing have tried it by sending out something once. They didn't get a response, so they're immediately saying to me, well, marketing doesn't work for our company. And it's just because what you described, they tried it once and it didn't work. And people need to be touched 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. That doesn't mean you need to send 10 lumpy mail envelopes, but it does mean a combination of touches. And then your follow-up call.
That's exactly right. And you don't have to spend a fortune. Target 50 instead of 100.
There you go.
There's always ways to build the money that you need to do more. But I think you're the one who constantly says you have to take a portion of your money and always be marketing. You can't ever stop that, or you're really just running around in a circle.
Well said. And that leads into our little segue here, which Debbie and I are part of a mastermind group. I have Debbie, 6 business owners in the area, and you and 5 others plus myself, we all get together in a think tank once a month. We close the door, and each person gets about 30 to 45 minutes of us working on their business, and then we go to the next person and do the same thing. And I'd like to get your opinion of the energy that you've derived from that and how it's helped you.
Okay, first of all, it is amazing. I can't tell you how great it's been for me, who virtually works alone. I work out of my house. I work with vendors all day and customers, but there's really nobody who looks at me and says, what's your problem? What's your challenge today?
Right.
And this group has given me that.
Yes.
I think the most amazing thing to me that I didn't realize was going to work is the first time I sat in the room with these 5 other people, I thought to myself, they don't really know anything about my business. And it was very quickly obvious to me, it didn't matter. These are business people who have the same challenges, the same successes, and have such value in their experience.
I couldn't agree more. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're selling a service or a widget, it really has no relevance, because the bottom line is we all need clients. We all want to keep the ones we have, and we all want to be creative about the things. And for some businesses, you have employees, and you have to work ways to keep them motivated and happy. And yes, you're right. It pretty much is the same for everybody, no matter what your business is.
Yes, and I just want to stress, it's not about us selling to each other or getting leads from each other. This is the whole other end of the spectrum. It is about growing your business, whether it's how to recruit employees, how to set up a pension fund, how to get new customers. We bring everything to that table and get input for solutions.
I personally love the energy because everybody contributes. You might be the one that everybody is helping now, and 45 minutes later, you're listening to somebody else, and then you're providing the input and feedback. I like the enthusiasm that comes out of it every time we get together.
Absolutely. And we all leave with real things we can do. You're great at pinning us down and say, okay, what 5 things are you going to leave and do this month so we can talk about the results of those things when you come back? So there's a real accountability to the group. I know sometimes the week before the meeting, I am dashing around trying to make sure that I have accomplished what I committed to. And there's really no other accountability for me like that working alone.
You're so right that when you know that others are expecting and depending on you to have what you said you do, there is a certain accountability that I think is unique to a mastermind group. So we're just getting started, and who knows where we'll be in a few years together, but it's exciting, I think, personally gratifying and rewarding to see so many people doing so well.
Oh, yes, it really has been a turning point to me. I've been in my industry almost 40 years, but I came to Daytona Beach 2 years ago and really started over. I didn't have the customer base I depended upon for years. I had to relearn a lot of things. And boy, things change. Without the input from this group, I would still be doing things the old hard way.
What great advice to others. There are many people, many entrepreneurs and many small business owners who are listening to this that may be on the fence. They've heard me talk about the mastermind groups and the benefit of it, but nothing is more effective than hearing it from someone like you. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I do have to give credit where credit is due. People can get together all the time and talk about their business, but you really focus our conversations and our accountability so that we have a leader in the room. Random conversations are great, but you really bring the value out of those conversations in simple actions and simple words so that we can really take it and implement it.
Well, that's nice of you to say, and it is a joy to have what I feel is a unique atmosphere that comes from a mastermind group, and together we're very powerful, I think, all of us helping each other. So can't beat that, can you?
No, you certainly can't.
Now, if I may, when we first talked about hooking up here on a podcast with me, there was a little hesitation. Do you want to talk about where that came from?
I knew you'd bring this up. Sure, and it's really a great thing that I can share. I have a movement disorder, and it is called dystonia. It is treated much like Parkinson's is treated. We're always working on trying to get rid of my tremors. And I have a tremor in my vocal cords. And it's a challenge for me to speak to people without being in front of them. As you mentioned before, I was the first person to talk to you at the chamber. I think my father's the one who first said that I would talk to a stop sign if that was the only person available to talk to. But I hesitate to call new clients. I think the first thing they hear is a tremor, and people are always saying, oh, I think we have a bad connection. And I typically say, I'm sorry, I'll call you back. And then I hang up and I gear myself up again and I stand up, look in a mirror, and I call back. But at some point, I just have to say it. It is a hurdle. It is not a wall. It's just a small little rock I have to jump over. And it's important for people to understand that it's not going to stop me. There is a wonderful broadcaster on NPR radio, and she's written books about her dystonia. To be on the radio and have this issue is just amazing. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, to let everybody hear my tremor and get over it like I have.
Right. And I find that you have a magnetic personality. You always smile. And the way you handle it, it just somewhat goes away. I don't even notice it. And I understand where you're coming from. Sometimes over the phone, you don't have that luxury of seeing somebody's pretty smile and, that eye contact. But maybe it's best that you don't sweep it under the carpet and bring it up and get it behind you.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
You have proven that to me.
Well, I value our friendship. I value what we're doing together. And I know with your company, Proforma, somebody listening to this today is going to contact you. In fact, why don't we take a moment right now, Debbie, to let people know how they can reach you?
Absolutely. Certainly a phone number, and that's very important. It's 386-274-7100. And an email at any time. Debbie is short and sweet. It's DEBI .snow, SNOW, at Proforma, PROFORMA.com.
And I will also add your contact information in the notes that accompany the podcast, so everybody will have two options to reach you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anything else that you can add to this? Oh, I had a thought to clarify something. Somebody might be listening to this podcast clear across the country or somewhere else that's nowhere near Daytona Beach. Do they have the opportunity and the flexibility of working with you through whatever sources you have to get materials they might need for a campaign or to help with a promotion with a company they want to work closer with?
Absolutely. One of the great examples of that is I work with a bank that is up and down the East Coast, and I use obviously technology tools to talk to the local regional managers about their marketing plans. I have vendors and I have resources across the country. So if you were in Tucson, Arizona for a trade show, I would use a vendor closest to that location to help you cut out shipping costs, to rely on somebody's expertise about what is the best thing to have in Tucson, Arizona. So I'm very lucky with Proforma to have a network of resources, but I do think it's the one-on-one that we have together that doesn't differ no matter where you are. Same issues, same challenges, and same goals for all of our marketing.
Exactly. You're so right, because the person with a challenge in Seattle has the same challenge as somebody in Miami.
Yes.
Yep. Well, this has been a great deal of fun and a lot of information. And before we close out, I want to ask you if you have any other pearls of wisdom you want to share with those listening today.
Well, I think it's probably the same thing you give all the time. Don't ever stop marketing.
There you go.
If you stop marketing, you've just turned the lights out on your business.
Well said. Well said. And as I close out every one of these podcasts, I tell people, if you do what we're talking about here, we're going to see you at the top. Thanks for listening today. Bye-bye.
Bye.